Everyone knows breakfast is supposed to be the day's most important meal, yet the typical American only eats it about 3 times a week. Cereal might seem like a simple go-to, but not all options are created equal. Unlike regular Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios are loaded with added sugar, thanks to honey and brown sugar syrup. A single cup of this cereal actually contains more sugar than 3 Chips Ahoy cookies. With 10 grams more sugar than plain Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios are essentially a dessert version of the classic. The New York Times notes that some parents often buy the sugary honey variety for their kids while choosing plain Cheerios for themselves, reasoning that the vitamins and minerals in the sweetened version offset some of the sugar. Even though it's the most popular breakfast cereal in the US, an environmental working group review found that a serving has 20 grams of sugar. Their report warns that consuming too much sugar can raise your risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and heart disease, and that breakfast cereals are the 5th highest source of added sugar in the diets of children under 8. That amount of sugar puts Honey Nut Cheerios just behind ice cream, candy, and cookies in terms of sugar content. Although Kellogg's Special K is often promoted as a healthy breakfast cereal, its refined grains and minimal fiber make it a less than ideal choice. With 4 grams of added sugar and 7 grams of protein per serving, it might seem okay at first glance. However, the naked label points out that much of Special K's health reputation is marketing. Without fiber, the refined carbs can quickly spike blood sugar levels. And while 4 grams of sugar isn't huge, the cereal contains 29 grams of total carbohydrates, and most people probably pour themselves more than the recommended serving. Special K is low in fat, which likely fuels its health-focused advertising, but those extra carbs from empty calories can still convert to fat in the body. For a genuinely healthy cereal, opt for one rich in whole grains and low in added sugar. If you love Special K, consider pairing it with lower sugar options, or enjoying it in moderation, recognizing that it's more of a treat than a truly nutritious breakfast. It's easy to understand why organic cereals attract parents. They want to give their kids the foods they crave while still avoiding potential negative health effects.
Many parents may believe their children prefer a certain cereal because of its taste. After all, some have added sugars.
According to Nature's Path's website, their cereals are made with only natural ingredients that parents can feel good about. Even though it's labeled organic and non-GMO, Panda Puffs cereal is mainly made of whole grain cornmeal, cane sugar, peanut butter, soy oil, and sea salt, basically sweetened corn and oil. Nutritionally, it's not exactly a powerhouse. Other cereals in the EnviroKidz line follow a similar pattern. While they offer slightly lower sugar and fewer preservatives compared to mainstream options, they're still questionable. For example, Leap and Lemurs contain chocolate flavor, and molasses, totaling 8 grams of sugar per 3/4 cup, and Koala Crisp swaps in brown rice flour for corn. A stronger pick is Nature's Path Mesa Sunrise, which blends corn with flax seeds, buckwheat flour, quinoa, and amaranth, and contains just 4 grams of sugar per 3/4 cup serving. Still, its protein and fiber levels are on the low side, so it's not a perfect solution either. It's probably no shock that Reese's Puffs aren't exactly a health food. You'll want to reach for them only as a sugary snack or dessert, not a breakfast that a nutritionist would endorse. We've all had mornings when a bowl of chocolatey, peanut buttery crunch sounds irresistible. But no matter what your cravings say, or how rough your night was, it's not really good for you. General Mills tries to make the cereal look healthier on their website, highlighting added vitamins, 11 grams of whole grains, and the absence of artificial colors, preservatives, or high fructose corn syrup. But the cereal still contains corn syrup and Hershey's chocolate, and the marketing can make the nutrition label feel like a mask, giving the impression of healthfulness without actually delivering it.
Whoa, you have candy for breakfast? She said.
Not candy, Reese's Puff cereal.
Despite its wholesome reputation, a serving of Raisin Bran contains more sugar than Froot Loops, a staggering 17 grams. The added sugar is slightly lower than the kid-favorite cereal, but that's partly because the serving size for Raisin Bran is smaller. Some of the sugar comes naturally from the raisins, but there's also white sugar, brown sugar syrup, and malt flavor added, likely to make the bran taste less bitter. With 5 grams of protein and no saturated fat, Raisin Bran isn't terrible, but it's far from a genuinely healthy breakfast. If you love it, the best approach is to mix a small portion with a lower sugar cereal, or sprinkle a handful of unsweetened raisins onto a healthier cereal for a sweet boost. If you think those bright rainbow colors come from natural ingredients, think again. Despite their different hues, all Froot Loops actually taste the same and are loaded with artificial dyes like red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, and yellow 6, none of which add nutrition or real flavor. Fun fact, The double O in Froot Loops exists because there's no real fruit in the cereal, a fact that has even led to lawsuits. Other ingredients include BHT, a controversial preservative added for freshness, hydrogenated oils, trans fats, and 12 grams of added sugar per serving. Spoon University reports that Froot Loops are about 44% sugar by weight, which makes them more like candy than breakfast. So why are they so popular? They're colorful, iconic, and undeniably tasty. Like Reese's Puffs, they also include added vitamins and benefit from clever marketing. But nutritionally, they're far from the best choice to start your day. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is undeniably tasty, but much like real French toast smothered in cinnamon sugar, it's more of a treat than a meal that will keep you fueled through the morning without a sugar crash. About 28% of each serving's calories come from sugar. And with just 2 grams of protein and 2 grams of fiber, there's nothing to slow the sugar rush. Simple sugars like these rank high on the glycemic index, and the National Institutes of Health warns that eating too much at once can spike blood sugar levels. All that sugar makes Cinnamon Toast Crunch feel more like candy than a proper breakfast. Even with added vitamins and minerals, which, as with the other cereals on this list, mostly mask the lack of real nutrition, this isn't something you should eat daily, especially when there are plenty of healthier, equally tasty cereal alternatives available.
It's really sweet, really sweet, and
Yeah,
quite nice.
you might not necessarily have something like that for breakfast every morning.
You know that ridiculously sweet milk left in your bowl after finishing corn pops? The stuff you secretly look forward to after crunching through those sugary corn puffs? That milk is basically dessert. Something Christina Tosi from Milk Bar might whip up as a nostalgic treat, not a healthy breakfast. Like the other sugary cereals on this list, Corn Pops are exactly the kind of cereal your parents probably shouldn't have bought, but that you couldn't stop begging for at the store. And it's easy to see why kids love them. Corn Pops are far from healthy. They contain 0 grams of fiber, 15 grams of added sugar from both sugar and corn syrup, and just 2 grams of protein. That combination can spike blood sugar and leave you hungrier sooner. So if you're steering clear of these sugar bombs, what cereals should you actually be putting in your bowl? Here are a few healthier options to try. Bakery on Maine's Cranberry Almond Maple Granola is one of the crunchiest and tastiest clusters on the market. And unlike many healthy cereals, they aren't dry or cardboard-like. Eating healthy can be a challenge, so a little enjoyment goes a long way. Foodie Kate gives this cereal a solid B, even though it has slightly less fiber than some other healthy options. For a granola, it's impressive. The crunch comes from a mix of nuts, corn, brown rice, beans, millet, teff, and seeds, while the sweetness comes from cane sugar, maple, and caramelized pear juice. The cranberry almond maple flavor has just 7 grams of sugar per 1/3 cup serving, plenty sweet without being over the top. It's also a great topping for a quick yogurt parfait if you want to reserve sweet, crunchy foods for snacks or desserts instead of breakfast. Kellogg's All-Bran buds aren't exactly as tasty as the sugary favorites on this list, but they weren't designed to be. Their main goal? Keeping you, as Kellogg's puts it, regular, thanks to wheat bran as the top ingredient. 1 serving delivers 11 grams of fiber, nearly half the daily requirement for women. Remember, a serving is just 1/3 cup, so if you eat a full cup, you'd likely hit your daily fiber target. But there's a catch. A full cup also hits the daily recommended sugar limit for women, 24 grams, meaning the sugar content can actually surpass nostalgic cereals like Froot Loops or Reese's Puffs. Protein is another weak spot, just 3 grams per serving, so it won't keep you full for long. A smart approach is to pair a serving of All-Bran buds with a lower sugar cereal, or toss in berries, nuts, and seeds to add texture, flavor, and a little enjoyment. Let's be honest, who eats bran purely for fun? Kashi 7 whole grain puff scores well on the Environmental Working Group's site. While it's not organic, it provides a solid mix of protein and fiber. The cereal is made from non-GMO, hard red wheat, brown rice, oats, barley, rye, buckwheat, and sesame seeds. And unlike many other Kashi options, like Go Lean Honey Almond Flax Crunch with 12 grams of sugar per 3/4 cup, it's completely unsweetened. That does mean it might taste a bit plain on its own, but nutritionally it's solid. You can enjoy a generous 1.5 cup serving, larger than most commercial cereals, without worrying about overloading on sugar. If you're looking for more flavor, try adding fruit, yogurt, or a touch of another cereal for sweetness. Keep in mind that while the puffs are crunchy out of the box, they can soften quickly in milk. So eat soon unless you like a mushier texture. And as a bonus, 7 whole grain puffs work well baked into whole grain rice crispy treats for a healthy twist on a classic snack.